Imagine trying to explain kissing to someone from 50,000 years ago. Two people move their faces together, press their lips against each other, and somehow this becomes one of the most common romantic behaviors in human history. At first glance, it seems completely normal, but then a strange question appears. Who was the first person to do it and why? The answer seems like it should be obvious. After all, humans kiss all over the world. Movies are full of it. Stories are full of it. Entire relationships seem to revolve around it. Surely humans have always kissed, right? Not exactly. In fact, one of the biggest surprises in anthropology is that kissing may not be nearly as universal as most people assume. And that discovery completely changes the mystery. For a long time, scientists assumed romantic kissing was a universal human behavior. It seemed obvious. If humans everywhere fall in love, then humans everywhere must kiss. But when anthropologists began comparing cultures around the world, they found something unexpected. Some societies barely kissed at all. Others had no tradition of romantic kissing. A 2015 study examining cultures from around the world found that fewer than half regularly practiced romantic or sexual kissing. Think about that for a moment. One of the behaviors many people consider completely natural wasn't even common everywhere. And if some cultures never developed it, then kissing cannot simply be a built-in human instinct. Something else must be going on. But before we can figure out where kissing came from, we need to know how old it is. And that's where things become complicated. The oldest direct evidence doesn't come from archaeology, it comes from writing. Ancient texts from Mesopotamia and South Asia, dating back thousands of years, contain references to kissing. People were clearly doing it, but written evidence creates a problem. Writing is only around 5,000 years old. Humans have existed for roughly 300,000 years. That leaves 295,000 years missing, and during most of that time, nobody was writing anything down. So kissing could be 5,000 years old, or 50,000 years old, or much older. We simply don't know, which means scientists have to look for clues elsewhere. And that is where the theories begin. One of the oldest explanations starts with babies. Long before grocery stores, blenders, or baby food existed, parents faced a problem. Infants couldn't chew solid food. Many cultures solved this by pre-chewing food and passing it directly from mouth to mouth. This behavior is called pre-mastication. It sounds strange today, but it was extremely common throughout human history. Some researchers think romantic kissing may have evolved from this parent-child behavior. Over thousands of generations, a practical feeding behavior could have gradually acquired social and emotional meanings. It's an interesting idea, but there's a problem. Pre-mastication explains why humans are comfortable with close mouth contact. It doesn't fully explain why kissing became associated with romance. So scientists looked for another possibility, and this theory involves smell. Humans don't experience the world primarily through scent the way many animals do, but smell still plays an important role in attraction. When two people kiss, they exchange an enormous amount of sensory information: breath, skin chemicals, natural scent. Some researchers argue that kissing may function as a kind of biological investigation, a way of unconsciously gathering information about a potential partner. In support of this idea, studies have found that many people place enormous importance on a first kiss, sometimes more importance than they place on physical appearance. A bad kiss can end attraction instantly. A good kiss can strengthen it, which suggests that something deeper than simple tradition may be happening. But even this theory has problems, because if kissing is so biologically useful, why don't all cultures do it? And that's where another explanation enters the story: bonding. Humans are unusual animals. We form long-term social relationships. We cooperate extensively, and we invest enormous amounts of time and energy into raising children. Physical affection helps maintain those bonds. A hug strengthens relationships. Holding hands strengthens relationships. Kissing may simply be another tool that evolved to strengthen emotional connections between people. In this theory, kissing isn't primarily about reproduction or attraction, it's about trust. And there is evidence supporting that idea. Kissing triggers the release of chemicals associated with bonding and attachment. The same biological systems involved in social connection become active. But even if bonding explains why kissing feels meaningful today, it still doesn't tell us where it started. And that's the frustrating part of this mystery. Every theory explains part of the story. None explains all of it, which raises an even bigger possibility. What if kissing was never invented at all? Think about language. Nobody invented language. It emerged gradually. Thousands of small changes accumulated over countless generations. The same may be true of kissing. Perhaps close facial contact began with feeding behavior. Perhaps scent assessment influenced attraction. Perhaps emotional bonding strengthened the practice, each factor contributing a small piece, until eventually a behavior emerged that we now recognize as kissing. If that's true, then there was never a first kiss, no prehistoric couple suddenly discovering a new romantic activity. Instead, countless generations slowly transformed older behaviors into something new. And that possibility leads to one final twist. Kissing may never have evolved more than once. Different societies may have arrived at similar behaviors independently. After all, humans everywhere face similar challenges: finding partners, building trust, maintaining relationships, raising children. Different cultures often develop surprisingly similar solutions to similar problems. If that's what happened, then asking who invented kissing may be like asking who invented friendship. There may not be a single answer, only a long process shaped by human nature itself. Which brings us back to the original question: how did ancient humans discover kissing? The honest answer is that we don't know, not completely, and that is exactly what makes the story so fascinating. One of the most familiar behaviors in human life remains partially mysterious. Every time two people kiss, they participate in a tradition that may stretch back thousands of years, or tens of thousands, even longer. A behavior so common that most people never question it, yet mysterious enough that scientists are still debating its origins today. And somewhere in those missing chapters of human history lies an answer that may never be fully recovered.